G'day friends and fans, welcome to Dave Talks Off Ukraine War Update for the 29th of the 12th, 2024. I'm your host, the author, David Applegate. And I'm covering this war because, if anything, while I initially started off just studying this war, I want this bloody thing to be over. But of course, the problem is the loudest voices in the room, the most popular voices in the room, are pro-war. And in a data-driven world, if people are pro-war, that's going to push government policy. All the anti-warmongers go, I don't want to hear about Ukraine. And so you get steamrolled every time. You can't bury your head in the sand. And people tune out short. So YouTube thinks, you hate the video. So we'll recommend it to you again, and it's time and time again so frustrating to be the voice of truth in this world. But here we go. Okay, Russia continues its grind on the buffer zone in the north. Now, the actual number of attacks have increased. Now, it looks like they are expanding the northern zone and trying to do so here. The Russians are back to fighting in Kupiansk. I call it the Russian bear trap. It's a Ukrainian grind, basically. Lure them in, grind them down. Ukraine has a hard-on for this territory, so they let them in and grind them down. Lots of attacks today here in the north, but that's all. Now, they've made some breakthroughs, but towards Lyman. But these are probing attacks, but they are spreading out from Yamprai. They spread completely. They've moved past Siversk and other areas. They're moving actually south towards Vasidinka. Here, nothing so far, but they are moving. They've taken a little bit more of the outskirts and some of the some blocks in Konsk, but they have yet to. See here, they're stuck by the river. They've got to rely on troops on the other side, and that requires breaking the Ukrainians here. But Russia says they're exploring bridge works. Now, I thought they had river crossing, and I'm pretty sure they did. But apparently, that's one of the areas where Russia has not really prepared. And you think, wait a minute, isn't it the evil empire that was preparing to invade Europe for the last 75 years? No. Turns out that Russia only has a small amount of bridge crossing equipment. They rely on defending, and they have been training to defend with a series of counterattacks. And that explains a little bit of how they're going about this war. See, most of the time, they push forward and defend. See, they've only trained to retake well, I know it sounds strange, but they've only recently retrained, right? So, you think in the 20-odd years since the fall of the Soviet Union, but Russia put the military into low priority, believing that Europe won't invade, and they forgot about a whole bunch of internal problems. Not to mention that the Russian army exactly wasn't popular since the Afghanistan debacle. So, when Chechnya broke off, a lot of people expected Russia to do nothing about it. Now, I don't know the internal politics of Russia well enough to explain the Chechen War, but a lot of people did not like the fact that the Chechens broke off, particularly the way they did it and how they treated the Russians and Christians, fearing that it would lead to religious violence, which it did, and the Russians wanting revenge. And so you can actually understand, if you are at least a little bit, that the Russians are only in Ukraine because they want revenge for what the Ukrainians did to the ethnic Russians in Ukraine. You might actually understand this border, and if you paid more attention, gave me more attention, and pretty much made your voice clear to a lot of representatives, maybe we wouldn't be in this position where Zelensky's once again asking you to go to World War III on his behalf. This is what they do. They make everything so boring you tune out, while the enthusiastic psychopaths who want to just basically run riot. So here we have Russia approaching, taking more towns, but for now they are moving slowly at a near standstill in some places. Other places they are completely held and at a standstill. Now, yesterday somebody reported a breakthrough at Dupanilia. Well, there's 2 Dupanilias. And now Zelensky was talking about this one, and the morons over in military, whatever, was... I hate when people keep giving liars and sensationalists the time of day, right? No matter how wrong they are, because it's so exciting. Look at them with distraction. And, yeah, they tune out to the truth. So, as we go around the map, I think people complain I take too long. But, yeah, here we go. The usual Russian death trap at Siversk. There really isn't much, but this is where the next breakthrough, I think, is coming, that they're going to seal the deal here so that they can secure the flanks. Now, the reason why they're looking to river crossings is, I believe, a heavy tank offensive. Not maybe, but we'll see. They do have bridging equipment. So, I don't know what Putin's talking about with the river crossings, but he mentioned them, which means something to someone. And if someone knows where Russia is likely to cross the river, right now, it's probably in Zaporozhye. They've taken a huge chunk, but it looks like they've secured the river crossings here at Hulapol, unchallenged. They've crossed the river here at Zelin. The Russians have advanced. So this is what he might be talking about. He probably expected the Ukrainians to blow the bridges, and they haven't. So yes, the Russians have crossed the river here at Zelin successfully. They haven't crossed the river here, but they've crossed the river here successfully. So, yeah, Putin's announcement might make sense here in Zaporozhye, but again, it could also be, oh no, they've made river crossings here in Kherson. It's secure at the other side. So, yeah, this might be Kherson. It might be they might not have long bridging crossings, which means they could be looking to land north of Berislav or between Berislav and Kherson, where the river is wide, so they might only have the short river crossings, or some of their tanks are meant to be amphibious, but I think Putin is not trusting them, or not trusting that such operations can be carried out in mass, because, there's a difference between people who've trained for years to do it and the army you threw together a couple of years ago, who haven't really been training but fighting. Another sticky area is they have started to make way as this area freezes over to secure and get to the other side. This is the area that, of course, was destroyed when the Ukrainians blew the water dam at... Now, apparently, Russia's not crossing north of here because of some agreement with the United Nations. But that doesn't mean they can't cross here or somewhere else, where they're obviously preparing to cross. They've entered into areas probably to keep Nikolaev under fire control. Now, you'd want to be out of range when you are crossing in mass, because you can create narrow choke points. But Kherson, the Russians allegedly been repelled. No, these are all probing attacks, okay? The Russian assaults are usually 1,000 men with multiple tanks, not a few 100. Those are probing attacks. Learn the difference. But the media, of course, doesn't learn. It's all propaganda. Now, yesterday, of course, Russia attacked Kiev. Zelensky was talking about today with Trump about security guarantees, saying that there's a deal. But Trump said, no, we're 95% of the way there, which means Trump is going to hold Zelensky in a noogie for another night. But I don't see Zelensky giving in. Putin expressed his appreciation of Trump's efforts through Kirill Dmitriev, and of course immediately all the bots went, Russia, 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 Trump is in Putin's pocket. Oh my God, what a boring, and that's what they do on purpose. They know you'll tune out. They know they know you'll give up because they're unredeemable assholes, right? They're beyond redemption. They think they're better than you. They're nothing but the grind between your toes, and they know it. Ukraine has provided power to the households again. Yeah. I reckon half the time they just turn it off to make people angry at Russia. There's no proof that Russia destroyed that much equipment. Again, I said it's possible they overloaded it, but 1 million? Depends. But you don't power out 1 million households if you're only knocking a few walls out, But, Trump expressed optimism, but I am not optimistic. I believe that Europe and Zelensky are plotting to do to Trump what they did to Eisenhower and later presidents over Vietnam. And then, of course, not fight it themselves. But, of course, as soon as this article came out, the usual Russia shills came out of the woodworks, salivating. But, of course, the biggest one, of course, is Poland. We must maintain our national identity and independence. I actually agree. But a war with Russia will not do that. There's no evidence of a Russian strike. But why is it that Poland could talk about defending its borders, but not the United States, not the United Kingdom? You know, it's all hypocrisy. But at least finally Germany's talking about, World War II reparations. Oh, fuck World War II and your fucking reparations. Deal with today, okay? Stop trying to greedily lift into people's pockets all the time over the past. Reparations, you know, they're bloody... This is why, you know, people get sick of the Poles. You know, they're hypocrites. Oh, we must defend our independence and our national identity. Let's go to England. Let's have 1 million of us go to England and take all the jobs from the boys. And then complain about racism because you won't give us jobs. Parasites. I hate them. Now, Trump says this is not a ceasefire. This is a deal to end the war. Putin understands this, but Putin has said there's two things that Ukraine won't do. They won't issue guarantees on the people of Donbass, but they are welcoming a demilitarized zone or a buffer between the two. But Putin says he's already working on that and that he's not giving up any territory. And if Zelensky recognizes the territory now, right, that's it. But he won't. So Putin says, okay, have it my way. You know, you won't do things the nice way, so I'm going to do things my way. Now, I think Trump knows this, right? That he is dangling trade opportunities with Russia, but there are many more issues that need to be dealt with. Venezuela, Taiwan, and many others, right? The idea is to get a neutral Russia. That is going to take time. But all these delusional, micro-brained, warmongering liberals want war. They don't want a neutral Russia. They want a dead Russia. Why? Because of the Adam Schiff Trading Company? Defunct in 1924, taken over by the Soviet Union because of their involvement in the war in Japan. Now, remember, they were allies until off and on. They were Wilson. Remember, we talked the Soviet Union into a war on our behalf, well, I mean Wilson's behalf, in Japan, that led to the war in China, that led to the Korean annexation. Well, Japan already occupied Korea, I believe. Manchuria, parts of. Right? And they said, we're fighting the communists. And then America was delivering weapons to China in Shanghai, so Japan seized the port. Then we started delivering weapons to China through Vietnam, and that started arming the Vietnamese. But the Vietnamese and Chinese had a falling out because the Vietnamese wouldn't fight for the Chinese. There was a whole lot of problems for the because of the Schiff Trading Company. But liberals, they don't want to know. Most people don't want to know. They want to bury their head in the sand and think we can turn the world into kumbaya, and Jesus Christ will come tomorrow, sit on the throne, and say, "You darlings did everything I asked you to do. Oh, you're going to get every reward." No. You lie, you betray, you steal. You're getting nothing. You're not going to be kings in hell. Oh, I hear it all the time. But I'd rather be a king in hell than a servant in heaven. Where's it say you're going to be a servant in heaven or a king in hell? That's just your delusion, man. And the Liberals are definitely in the business of delusions. And that's why I'm so unpopular, because I don't pander to the right-wing delusion either. And that's the problem, isn't it? All right? You all think I'm criticising the God Emperor Trump. We can't point out problems in our side, such as Pam Bondi, then what use? You're just as bad as the Liberals. Blind obedience. Right? Trump wants to be told he's wrong, but you've got to be forthright and tell him, I think you're wrong. Here's where I think you're wrong. And if he corrects you, accept it. That's it. And you move on. Thank you all for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please support the channel. You can support me on Ko-Fi, Patreon, buy my books, buy my merch. All my links in the link tree, description below, or in my profile. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate each and every one of you. See you in the next video, and bye for now.